Hey you guys, so I'm making this video because I've been at the homeless shelter for a bit of time now. So I've been able to use my spiritual gifts to gain some information about the homeless and the homeless shelter and things that go on in there. And through my spiritual gifts, I've seen a lot of demonic spirits and demons that are working through people in the homeless shelter. So I'm making this video for you guys so you can potentially use this video to inform yourself or get information about the homeless shelter and how you can potentially help these people. Or if you plan on having to go homeless and go to a homeless shelter, what you should be expecting and how to protect yourself from these spirits that work through these homeless shelters. Food is always not the answer when it comes to homeless people. Some people need help in many different ways. Today we're going to be talking about lust that's circling all up and through this homeless shelter that I'm currently at. So day one, I hadn't even had a bed yet. I'm in the intake area. As night comes, this girl comes into the intake area lusting after the attention, any type of attention from men. I can see it on her. So she comes in there in a skin tight outfit, see through, like not see through tights, but tights where you can basically see everything, and a skin tight shirt. And she's like spinning around in front of the security officers, bending over in front of the security officers, doing basically anything to get any type of attention from these security officers. And so I see that, like, I see it, I see the spirits behind it right away, and I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna take note of that. Then later on that night, when I was blessed to have that food, like I didn't even think that I was gonna get that food that day. And around that time, they just so happened to bring food out to us. So after I ate, I didn't know where to put my food. So I walk up to where the security officer is, and I'm like, "Hey, where do I put this?" And then I dropped something, like I dropped a napkin or something like that, and I uh, knelt down to pick it up. And so he responds to me, and he's just like, "You bending over and stuff. I don't know. I can't pay attention to what you're saying." And honestly, his response to me was 100% lust. But through discernment, I can also tell the difference between you're lost and you're being temporarily used, but you do have some control over yourself, and the men that are being used and they're lost and they have a sense of like it's perversion. You have no control over yourself, and we'll get into that a little bit later because that does come up. So day two, I'm moving, I'm getting settled in. I went and got me a pillow and a blanket, and I'm getting settled into my bed. So I see who my bunkmate is, and when I see who my bunkmate is, she's like walking up the stairs to get on her bed. And as she's walking up the stairs, a girl that's homo walks up, and we're just gonna call her H. So as H is walking up, my bunkmate's like on the edge of her bed, and she's like sitting, about to get on her bed. And she starts talking to H. She's just like, "I need some DD," and she keeps repeating it. And then she takes H off guard, and H is like, "What the heck? Why is she saying that?" And so she's like, "H, do you have a DD? I need some of that. I need that right now." And I'm just like, "What the heck is going on?" And it's crazy because when I was first like seeing her, I was just like, she seems like a really, really sweet girl. But after that, after I seen her do that, I was just like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to keep my distance from you. Day three comes. So when day three comes, I see that Skin Tight is cool with bunkmate and H. And so for some reason they're all uh, they start pacing past my bed. And so the first time they past my bed, Skin Tight's like, "I have two dates tomorrow." And she's like, like basically like, "Woo woo, I got two dates tomorrow." And if you don't know what dates mean, that's what P-toots say they are when they are going to be doing something for money with men. And so bunkmate responds to Skin Tight. She's like, "Man, I only got one. You lucky, you lucky." What was really catching my attention was that they were trying to check my temperature while they were doing that, while they were having those conversations to see if I would be involved with them with that and if I would be open to that. So I made sure even more that I let it be known, I'm good. I'm going to keep my distance. So the next time they paced by my bed, I noticed that H was taking like a liking to me and trying to see if that I would, swing that way with her. So she was trying to be around, trying to get me to join in conversation and things like that with her as well. So then she starts complimenting my body loudly to where I can hear it. And if you guys don't know, I got like a shape. I'm kind of like thicker, and so as she's pacing by, she just says, oh, she's thick, oh, she's thick, she got boot, just describing that, thinking that I would take a liking to that and thinking that I would like that. So I became even more quiet and put the covers on my head, like, no, back up with all those spirits, keep that on you, and don't even come over it with that. So during my second week, I teamed up with Google to help me get a job. It's really a part-time job, a temporary job for me, but they don't know that. So I teamed up with them because they came by the shelter offering help. And when you team up with them, they'll help you out with resumes, they'll help you out with training for your interview, they'll help you out with all types of stuff. Even they even team up with other places that can help you get a job. It's not just a job at Goodwill. So when you're purchasing at Goodwill and they ask if you want to round up, it's a good idea to do it. They actually do help people in the homeless shelter, even though a lot of them don't take the help. So I took the opportunity, and something else that comes with the opportunity is they'll teach you computer skills and they'll give you a certification in that. So I signed up for that. So the guy for that comes to the shelter every Tuesday and does a certification with you. So when I go into the class to do the certification, there's a lot of older people in there because a lot of older people don't know how to work the computer, and I'm like the only young one in there. So when I walk in, I notice he's kind of being mean to all the other people in the room, but when he sees me, he's nice to me. And I'm just like, whatever, I'll take it, I guess. So when it comes to the end of the class, I'm finishing up for the day. I wasn't gonna be able to finish everything for the day. I had like one more test to take. I had failed it the first time because on these little tests, you got to know all the ins and outs of these like Word document, and you have to answer in a certain way. So he had to help me retake the second test because you can only take two in a day. When he comes down to sit next to me, he's like, "Oh, this chair is so low. My legs are so long," and I was just like, "Oh, okay." And then he repeats it again. I'm like, and he's like, look how long my legs are compared to the chair. And so when I look down, I see all his stuff. And I'm just like thinking, I'm like, maybe that wasn't on purpose. The more I sit and think about it, the more I realize that's exactly what he was doing. It was definitely given that, you know, that movie Medea Goes to Jail, in that scene where that girl's getting help from that lady and that guy does something creepy for her because she has a past of being a p-toot. That's definitely what the situation was giving, and it was just so weird. And it's crazy because when I saw him, I thought he was homo, and it just brings to my mind too, you guys, like the devil be trying to get me back in one of these relationships with one of these homo, because they really be having these spirits on them to where they thinking that they want men, and it makes them hate women. Things that they've been through in their life make them hate women. So there will be ones that get in relationships with women and treat them like so bad. And there's been a lot of these homo men that have tried to get into a relationship with me, and I know that's the only reason. I know that's the devil working through them, trying to get some more of my time and ruin some more of my life and keep me down and drain me. I just did 8 years of that. No more. The next thing I want to get into is these men that are in the homeless shelter and the men that live outside the homeless shelter because either they got kicked out or they don't want to have to stay in there because they don't want to come in at a 6 o'clock curfew or not do drugs or drink. So these men are relentless. They bird call me aggressively every time I leave the shelter and every time I come back to the shelter, yelling at me, hey, hey, hey. And I know men do this all the time. It's something that men do when they want to talk to a woman, but they do it on such an extreme level. It's disgusting to where I just like keep my head down and don't respond. When I first got there, I responded like I would do like a little simple, hey, hey, or whatever. But it got to the point where I just can't say anything. I got to literally walk past them yelling at me over and over again. What's your name? Hey, 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 I'm trying to get to know you. I'm trying to get to know you. I'm trying to get to know you. An example of knowing the difference or having discernment to know the difference between somebody that's just lost or, tripping and lust got a little out of control, but they do have control over their lust spirit, and someone that has a spirit of perversion, someone that's creepy and has no control over their spirit of lust is, for example, when I first got to the shelter, there was this guy in a wheelchair, and I'm passing him up to go out and do something. And as I'm passing him up, you guys, this man had this look in his eye. You can tell a lot about somebody by the look in their eye. This man didn't blink not once while he was sitting there staring at me. It was the most creepiest, innocent looking look I've ever seen, and it told me everything I need to know about this man. I didn't get scared. I don't get scared of these demons because I'll rebuke you in a hot second. But it was just weird how I was let everything that I needed to know about the way that he was looking at me as we literally just walked past each other. And then when it comes to the guys that be barking at me outside, I can sometimes even see the spirit of lust on them when they like, talking to me, and just see the creepiness in them. But I can see that too, they still got a certain level of control over themselves. So there's a big difference, and you really got to pay attention to body language, to what they say, to how they say it. And God will really let you see the demons working through them sometimes. There's this guy, he lets everybody know he's a veteran up there. And when I first seen him was in intake, and he was coming in, he had a referral, so he got in real quick. And there was another girl in the intake room. She actually never came back to the homeless shelter, never got in, but she had this dress on where basically you could see everything that she had to offer. And you could tell she was another one that just needed that attention bad, just was trying to get it from everybody. And I could tell too that she was going to be after me if she came to stay there. Like, she was going to try her best to try to whatever she could do to me. But she never came back, thank God. So the day that I was in intake waiting to get a bed, he had came in and she was already in there. I was in the last row, he was in the row before me, and she was in the first row. There was one instance where she stood up trying to show everything, trying, like, the way she got up, she knew what she was doing with the dress that she had on. And so when she did that, he looked up and said something under his breath, and like couldn't stop looking at her in the most creepiest way. And I couldn't even, like, she did it on purpose. So I was just like, I mean, what am I really supposed to say? And I can't even be mad at him. But I was just like, oh, you're a creep. Okay. Noted. Next time I see this man, he was at the bus stop. So we got on the bus together, and there was a bus driver, and this bus driver was another person that didn't mind the attention. Like, there's some women that are so bitter and so desperate for male attention, they'll let these men say anything to them. So we get on the bus, and she like straps him down. He's making little comments to her that are 100% inappropriate, and basically checking her temperature, see if she's gonna react in a certain way. She reacted like she liked it, reacted in a nice way, so he just kept going the whole bus drive. And he said one comment that was a bit on the extra aggressive side. So he, right after he said it, he was like, I'm just playing. And all the other little perverts on the bus started laughing, like, yeah, man, you gotta say you're just playing, because these women be tripping these days, these women be having a problem these days. No, you're creepy. You have no control over your lust spirit. Like, it's just disgusting to me that these men get to that age and never took a thought to start controlling their behavior, start controlling the lust that they're dealing with. Instead of controlling it, it just get wilder and wilder. You gotta learn as you get older how to control yourself. Which brings me to my next topic. Everybody in this shelter is booed up. And you can tell 100% these relationships are relationships that should not be happening. These people are in these relationships in order to stop focusing on themselves, not work on themselves, but instead have somebody that's giving them attention. It's giving codependent relationships. And a lot of the times, these relationships where the men are not treating the women right, the men are pimping out the women, or the men are keeping the women on drugs. So everybody can be for everybody. So everybody can be lusting after everybody, trying to get everybody. And especially when it comes to me, for some reason, I don't know why everybody want a piece of me. And when the women see that they want a piece of me, they start dressing like me, start copying me, start not liking me, because of their men have no control over their lust spirit, and they shouldn't be with the men in the first place. Brings me to my next topic. I've been seeing in these women be turned into women because they be choosing the wrong man, being with the wrong man, being treated by men, or they go get with a woman because them women that be wanting to dress like men be doing whatever to be in a relationship with them and being a good codependent partner for them. Because there's like 6 or 7 of them women that dress like men in the shelter, and they all, I think, 5 of them are booed up. And when I see their relationships, they're always cut off from everybody else. Like you could tell that both of them have an agreement that neither one of them need to be talking to any other person, any other woman, or any other man because they have jealousy problems. And I can tell if either one of them looks at another woman or a man or goes around another woman or a man, they are very, very, very possessive of each other to the fact where they isolate themselves from everybody else. It's very, very creepy the way they be acting, especially when it comes to me. Y'all, I'm no bigger, no more above. I'm not above these people. I'm not better than these people. But as a chosen one, a child of God, I know that I have to keep myself around certain people. I mean, away from certain people, certain energies, people dealing with certain demons in order to protect myself. I know me personally, I have a past of dealing with lust. It's not always the same type of lust that other people are dealing with, but I know in order to stay content, in order to protect myself, I can't just be in any environment, especially in these shelters. So I do take it very seriously to protect myself in these places and to not do certain things and do certain things and to keep myself busy and to tell people no and to stay on guard and things like that because it's important while you're on this path, on this journey, so you can stay consistent with what you're doing. And you guys, take it from me, be serious about not caring about other people's feelings, not caring about your feelings when it comes to following God, because God don't care about feelings. He cares about order and doing what you need to be doing. Period.